All right. Please go ahead. You could ask a question.
Oh yeah. So are we ever gonna have to calculate the correlation on that? Obviously, I know that there's one form of the equation that uses correlation and another one
Mhm.
that doesn't. But is there gonna be any point in the exam where like they want us to use the one that uses correlation and find the
Mm.
correlation itself?
It they could be they could ask you, and whenever they ask you to find correlation, um, there's actually only one equation that you could do so, right?
Hmm.
Let me oh, I try to load up the yeah. Let me go up here. Okay, so only this equation right here that has the correlation with it, the PAB right here,
Hmm.
is the correlation. So just only this equation. So let's say it gives you standard deviation of A and B and the covariance of A and B. Then you
Yeah.
just have to divide the covariance A and B by standard deviation of A and standard deviation of B. Um, and one thing that I think in the word problem, usually in the word problem, uh, give me admit some guys in, or in the word problem, she usually will ask you, is it undervalue or overvalue uh
Right.
stuff? And then also she gonna ask you, she probably will ask you, is the correlation um bigger than one? And if it's bigger than one, what does it mean? If it's equal to one, what does it mean? Or is it, if it's less than one, what does it mean? Uh, so yeah, is it answer your question?
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. I think
I
the
don't know if you remember the question I had before the
yes, yes,
when
please. You could
ended,
go ahead and ask that again.
but it was just about the process of which things you multiply first on that second half of that variance equation. Once it starts with
Okay,
plus two times,
sure.
um,
Uh,
what
when
you
it's
would
come
calculate first.
perfect. When it's come to multiplication, it doesn't, the order doesn't matter. Like if it's 0.75 multiplied with 0.25, it's the same as 0.25 multiplied with 0.75, right? Uh, the order doesn't matter. However, uh, you have to know, like, you have to remember which one you have to include. So 0.25, weight one, 0.75, weight two. In this case, it already give us the covariance, so we don't have to find it. But however, in problem three, you see that let's see. Okay, we were looking at this. So problem three, you see that at the end, absolutely always have a two with it. Weight one, weight two, and doesn't matter if it's 0.3 first or 0.5 first, but it have to be standard deviation of one and standard deviation of the other. Then multiply this in 1.244 is in this case the correlation. Is it answer your question?
I was more so wondering when that two comes into play. Do you multiply it in first or you multiply it in last?
It doesn't matter. It's a it's all it's if you multiply it at the end and not at the beginning, it's fine too, right?
And you multiply everything by two, or does it really just not matter? You can do two times 0.25 times 0.75 times 0.24 times 0.3 times 0.5, and you'd get the same answer.
Yeah, you would get the same answer. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, it's just that the plus right here is yeah, it's have to happen after the plus, right? Then you
Yep.
could do whatever with it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's continue. Uh, is there anything I could add on with this? I think should be it. Okay. All right, move to next one. Over next 2 year earning dividend growth, uh, 14% and then slow. Okay. So whenever you see something that like growing and then slow and stop, and then slow at a forever rate, in this case 8% forever after the first 2 year, um, then like I said, it has to do with uh this equation right here, but I really never used it. Um, yeah, let's go through together here. Okay, so something I would do is I would try to draw out. Wait, have I record this? Do you guys remember?
Yeah, you have.
Yes.
Oh, okay. My apologies. All right. So, most important, whenever you see when there's a growing, then it have to have something to do with a Gordon formula, and like I said, there's two equation, right? There's a DO and there's a D1. They just the same thing, but if the question is saying it's today or it's 1 year from today, you have to watch out for that. Okay, 1 second. All right, I will draw out. Okay, I bought a common stock whose current, all right, current dividend, which means that you receive it right now. And then it will grow 14% over the next 2 years. The dividend gonna expect to grow 14%, 14%, 14%. Okay. And then, all right, here's come a trick. I'm gonna show you a trick. Let me first try to find what is the next year dividend. And I'm gonna show you a trick. 14%. It should be 0.15 multiplied with 1.14, 1.15, yeah. Okay, this should be 0.171, and then it's gonna grow 14% more, so multiply 1.14. In this case, 195. All right, so and then after that it's gonna be 8% forever. You guys know that. And then a trick is after you do the second thing, after you do the second year, when it when it will begin to be constant, I usually will draw out like that. And then remember that whenever it begin to stay constant, this value, I will copy that down, and I know that that is D0. All right, because when I say this is D0, then I could apply this formula right here. So you're not gonna forget which one you're gonna use. You use D0 or should you use D1, right? So whenever it's stopped at 2, you record that number down, and then that is D0. All right, I'm gonna do that. 1 plus G right now, in the Gordon form is only used when it's constant, and it's only constant when it's 8%, right? The problem giving us 8% thereafter. So watch out for that. Gordon form is only applied for when it's growing forever. A constant. 0.08 divided by the expected return, it said is 10% minus 0.08. All right. So that is the Gordon form. You get into present value. I'm trying to find that. 0.195 multiplied by 1.08 divided by 0.02. Okay, and that is the present value of the Gordon form is 8.1. However, let me ask, watch out, this one is at year 2. At year 2, right? So make sure you have to discount this 8.2 back to year 0 as well. Okay, so how many things you have to discount back to year 0? That's my next point. Okay, so whenever you draw first thing, the first thing never will be added. When it start today, it will never be added. But then 1 year, that is one thing we have to find. This 0.95, we have to find as well, even though it is the value for D0, we still have to find the present value of that. And then lastly, this 8.1. So 3 things we have to find back to year 0. First thing, 1 year away. Second thing, 2 year away. Also noticing that the Gordon form, it's 2 year away as well. So 2 things you have to bring back at year 2, which is this one and then this one, the 8.1. All right, I'm gonna do that real quick. So you see that Professor she tell you could do the one that have like you could do the one, let's say this, and divide by 1 plus this case 10% expected, right? So raise to the 1, and then the 0.95 you would raise to the 2 at the bottom. You could do that, or you could just apply what previous test do is you hit 1.175 for future value, 1 for the n, 10 for the interest, and then compute the present value. Okay, present value for the stuff 1 I got is 0.55. Present value for stuff 2 is 0.91. My apologies. Okay, I'm gonna input 0.195 for future value, 2 for the n, 10 for the I, compute present value of that one of that 0.195. It is 0.161. Lastly, remember this thing is at year 2. You have to find the present value of that. So I say present value of the Gordon is 8.1 for future value, 10 for interest, and then 2 for the year for the n, and then compute the present value. We got 6.69. Okay, and then finally you have to add these 3 together. Let's see if I got it right. More than likely it's right. If not, I have to check the math, but then let's see, 13.649. Let me double check quick. Which one? 5. Over next 2 years, and then per year, and then slow at what if the value per share? Okay, 1 second. Did I got 6? Answer is 9. Ooh. Wait, my apologies. I do wrong input. Wrong number. 6.69 plus 0.161 plus 0.155. Yeah, still not add up. Okay, 1 second. Plus 10, 14%. Hey, do you guys, if you guys, the correct answer is 9.02. You guys see I make a mistake anywhere, please feel free to open your mic and let me know as well. 1.14. 1.14 should be right. 5 by 1.08. Then divide by 0.02. Okay. My apologize. I think this one right here, I input wrong number. This one, after doing recalculation of this, I got it to be 10.5 0.26, about 10.53. All right, let me try to do that real quick. All right, 1 second. Future value, 2 for the N, 10 for the I, compute the present value. Okay, so this turned out to be not 6.68, but it's 8.699. Okay, let's try to add them together. 0.61 plus 155. Okay, it turned out to be 9.01 15, which is 9.02. All right, so let's recap. I think the most important thing is realize that this 0.95 is a D0. And remember to also find the present value of the 0.195 and the present value of the Gordon, which is also at year 2. The Gordon is also at year 2. Okay. All right, move to the next one. Let's see. Okay, let me see how much time I have. Okay. Incorporate expect annual dividend. Okay, my apologize. There also a part B to it. However, when it comes to part B, it just means that what happened if the dividend in 2 years. Okay, if it's say in 2 years, that should be just the Gordon value. The present value is at year 2 is the Gordon, which is 10.5, which is 10.5. That is the answer. For 6. Okay. So what type of problem is this one? Like I said, this one will not be provided on the test. This is holding period return. And how do you identify the holding period return problem? You have to watch out for the term that say end of the year and the beginning of the year. Anything that like from period to period, and beginning, like something like that is talking about the holding period return. Like I said, this is something like price today minus price yesterday plus the dividend divided by price yesterday. In this case, let's see. If the investment of equivalent risk have an expected return of 14%, all right, that is holding period return, right? So I put it on one side, 0.14. 0.14 equal, what it asks for is what is the most one would pay today for the firm common stock. And the stock is expected to trade. Okay, it's expected to trade 98.6, which is in the future, right? Expected in the coming year. So that is 68.60 minus what is the most one would pay today. So today gonna be this X right here, plus the dividend is 1.5 divided by X. So we have to find X. How do we find X? Usually, I would say this would be the hardest form it could get, where you have X on top and X on bottom. If it asks you to find this and it given you X already, that's easier, right? So it is just like identify which problem is this one. If you know that it has something to say with N beginning, then it's more than likely the holding period return. This will not be on the test. You have to remember this. Okay, I'm going to solve this. 14x, because I multiplied this x up on both sides. So it's equal to 98.60 minus x plus 1.5. Okay, I try to get x on one side, so I plus x on both sides to cancel out this guy over here. And so it's going to be x plus 0.4, x 8.6 plus 1.5. All right, this right side, you already could add them up. Hopefully you guys could help me with the math here, but I think it's 100. I wrong, 100.1, I think. Yeah, 100.1, and then on this side, there's a 1 before the x, right? It's just not showing up, so this should add up to 1.14x, and then you divide it, got x. Let me try to divide it. 100.1 divided by 1.14. Okay, and x turned out to be 87.8. That's the price you would pay today to, yeah. And let me double check, 87.8. Okay. All right, let's move on. Your common stock is selling for 30. Pay a total annual dividend. Okay. When stock holding period return, like this one, it like straight up asks you holding period return, so you know you have to use the before formula. Selling for 30. Last year is 32. So right now minus before plus the dividend, and then divide by the before, you got the holding period return. What is the dividend yield? Okay, one thing I want you guys to look at is this is the same as this 0.4 dividend. This is the same as this. This thing is the same with this thing, right? Okay, so when you see that, then that's the answer, because this one is just concerned with how much has gone up, and this one just concerned with how much dividend is contributed. So if it asks for dividend yield, then that is the dividend yield. When it's asked for capital gain, then this is capital gain. All right, let's move on. All right, here is the way that this practice exam structure is, they give you a hard problem first, and then they give you a easy problem. Okay, this one asking expected return, right? When you're looking at the expected return, remember that that is like the smallest piece. And where is it on the formula? Is right here. Why does I say that it is smallest piece? It is the smallest piece because it is right here. You see that? Right here, you see that? Right here, you see that? Right? And it is from this formula right here. So reminder, whenever you have to find like standard deviation or variance or covariance, and it has the term ERA, ERB in it, you have to find that first. And to do that, it is the equation, like I said, right here. It's a little bit messy, sorry guys. All right, so this one, very simple. It asks for expected return. However, it doesn't give you a probability. Don't panic. Looking back right here, if it doesn't give you the probability, then okay, my apologize. Let me go ahead again. Right here, it doesn't. If it doesn't give you the weight or the probability, then the only way you could do it is divide it. Right? You're gonna add. They want to see what is the expected return. It's gonna return 2% in the first year, 2% in first year, 18% in second year, and then 5% in third year. then you just sum them up and then divide by 3. If it was to give you a probability, then you would say like, let's say the first year is 50% chance, then 0.5. If the second year is 40% chance, then it's 0.4. And if third one is the third one is it will be 0.10. Then this is how you find the expected return. However, if it doesn't give you, then you just need to divide by 3. All right, and it's come. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, so if you do that, it will give you the answer. But then let's see right here. Okay. I will tell you guys how harder this could get. And I will tell you right now. Let me just copy this. If the test, however, like was to be more difficult, how many times you have to divide by 3, right? What equation do you know that you have to divide? I'm gonna show you right here. So expected return. This one, we work above. We know that we have to divide by number of times it's happened. It's happened 3 times. 1, 2, 3. You divide by 3. What else? Which one relate to the ERA? This one have the ERA in there. So probably this one, do you see if it doesn't give you the probability, then how do you do it? What you do is you just take the same thing. Let's say, okay, 1 second. Let me work up here. Okay, I will pretending this question asking you what is the standard deviation? Because the problem could be harder by that way, and we will work together. When it want to set standard deviation, we're looking at this. Probability doesn't given, so I cross that out. But then at the end, you have to divide everything by the number of times it's happened. All right, let's work together. A equal Ri in this case, the first one you see is 0.02% minus the expected return is this things, and let's see what is that value equal to. It's equal to 7%. So if you guys do the calculation, it turned out to be 7%. So 0.07. And then what does it say? It says square root, right? And then you have to add because there are the thing as well. So in this case, 0.18 minus 0.07 square. And then you guys know that there's another thing. There's 0.05 minus 0.07 square. A good trick right here. This guy stay the same, the ERA. But it doesn't give you the probability. If it was giving you the probability of each, you would multiply it right here, right? And then if to find the standard deviation, then you have to square root both sides. That's what you usually do. But then if the question doesn't give you, don't panic, because you just have to divide by 3. Because there's 3 things. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. So divide by 3 things. And then if it's asking to find standard deviation, then square root. After you divide, all right? After you divide everything by 3, you square root. Yeah. All right, that's how it could be harder. But if to the extreme case, and I don't see if she gonna use with this one, but if she happened to do so, then hey, don't be panic again, right? You just have to divide everything by the number of it happened. Reminder, this one is covariant, right? So never do the square root on it. Watch out for that. Okay. Okay, so this one will not be on the test. This one will not provide it on the equation sheet. The divide by the total number of n. Last time when I take a test and she was giving me this hard problem where I have to find the covariance. I remember that it doesn't give me the probability, so I divide by the total number of times it's happened. But then I make a mistake by doing a square root, and that is wrong because it's asking for covariance. So watching out for that. All right, let's move on.
Square root's only for the deviation, right? Standard deviation.
Square root is only if you square root the variance, it's a standard deviation. But the symbol right here, when it's have that symbol and A and B, that is covariance. That not standard deviation. Yes, so I also have part 1 recorded and part 2, which is this Zoom meeting. I will record it. You probably missed it if you were not here from 4, but then you could look back to the video. I explain which one is covariance, which one is variance clearly. But if it's not, then just give me a text. I'll explain it again for you. Okay, move on. What is the standard deviation of this stock possible return? All right, this one is easier. It gives you probability and return. And how many asset is it? It doesn't give how many, right? So it 1. And is this hard? Shouldn't be hard. So first step first, ERA. That is always the smallest piece you have to find. And it's by multiply and add them 20%, 0.2 multiplied by 0.25 plus 0.3, 0.00. So the second one usually, if it multiplied by 0, that's cancel. 2, it's 25 plus 0.4 multiplied by 0.2. And then after you add them up, let me see what it's equal to. It's going to be equal to 8%. Right? All right. Let's work with me here. 1 asset, 1 ERA. Then looking at the equation sheet. Okay. Looking at the equation sheet, we only see that this equation right here has the ERA, 1 asset. And this equation is for variance of 1 asset. And all right, let's apply it. What does it say? All right, what is the equation again? I forgot. I think we just copy it down. Oh, where is it? Okay, P multiply with the thing minus the expected square. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so standard deviation, when it's squared, it's a variance, and I'm applying the equation above the probability. All right, looking at a probability column. All right, I'm gonna copy that first, and then it's gonna multiply with the thing in the parentheses square, right? First thing, because it's next to that, gonna copy that down, 0.2 minus what? Minus this expected we just find before, 0.08, and then we can add what is second thing? What is the second probability thing? 0.3, right? Multiply, what is the thing that next to it? 0 minus 0.08. You see that this is ERA, so repeat it. Plus, what is the next probability? 0.25. Copy that. What is the thing that next to it? 0.2 minus 0.08 square. Stay the same, the 0.08. Then lastly, what is the last probability? 20. What is the thing that next to it? 40, right? So 0.08 square. All right. And this is the variance. If you find standard deviation, square root both sides. And you should be able to find a standard deviation of this. Like I said, if the problem doesn't give you the probability, then the step 1, you divide everything by 4 to get the expected return. In step 2, if it doesn't give you the probability, like this case, then you add them up. The thing right here stay the same. You add them up, divide them by 4, square root it, then you got the standard deviation. All right. All right, we have 2 minutes. I would try to do it as quickly as possible. But then if you guys want to resume, I still will be resuming. If you guys resume, we will continue working, and then you guys could ask questions. Yeah. And but the recording of these, I will post it somewhere and then let you guys know where it at. What is the standard deviation of the return for D and E? All right. This one is tricky in the sense that it's just asking you for D and E separately, right? It's asking you to find standard deviation of return for each one. So my recommendation is you just like don't look at one thing, and then this one, I remind you guys up here is the same thing, same process, right? This right here. All right, and after you finish that, you got the expected return and standard deviation. You're gonna keep looking at this row. You don't looking at the D, but you're looking at the probability and the stock E return. And like I said, doing the same step at problem 9, right? Then you're gonna have 2 stuff. You're gonna have all right, y'all. We have 1 minute left. I think let's take a break for 5 to 10 minutes because Zoom, it's set it up in a way, I don't know, but you can only restart 10 minutes after. So I think at 5:40 we will resume. I will explain this in under 10 minutes, and then if you guys have any particular question, each person will take turn asking questions, and yes, we will resume. Yes, and let me know, message me. I will do my best.